Hello, fourth grade. We are going to do Module 4, Lesson 3 today, which is Estimate Products by One-Digit Numbers. And it says, I can estimate products of one-digit numbers and determine whether the exact product is reasonable. What it means by products is you have your two factors, which are your two numbers that you are multiplying, and the answer is the product. Okay? So, it says, Emma works for Traveling Carnival. She needs to order 84 stuffed prizes for each of the 6 game booths. Emma estimates that she needs to order about 480 prizes. Is her estimate reasonable? Now, if we look at this, what we want to do is we want to know that she needs 84, 6 games. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. 84 prizes, okay, and prizes, and 6 game booths. All right, so if I'm going to estimate, we have 6 groups of 84 stuffed prizes. Okay, so if I'm estimating, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it down to a reasonable basic fact, basically. All right, so I'm not going to move this up to an 85, even though that's sometimes people estimate to the closest 5, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the closest 0. So we are estimating downward. So 84 turns into 80. Now I can do 6 times 80 quite easily, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 6 times 80 equals the same thing as 6 times 8, which is 48, and you add your 0. Because this is essentially 6 times 8 tens. So when we get to our answer, we want 48 tens. So it's a reasonable expectation. 480, pretty reasonable, even though we estimated downward. So around 84 stuffed prizes, okay? Turn your page. All right, it says, the roller coaster at the carnival runs for 6 hours every day. So 6 hours. It can take 320 people for a ride each hour. So 320 people. All right, it says, about how many people can go on the roller coaster each day. So again, what I'm trying to do is get this down to a basic fact that we can do in our head. 6 times 32, not as easy to do in our head as the same as 6 times 3. Okay, so we are going to do 6 times 300. So I estimated down, this is a 2, so you just leave it the same and turn everything to a 0. Really easy to do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. And then we have our 2 zeros that we have to add to the back. So this is saying 6 times 300s. Now, if we're going to show a visual model of how we can represent this, I have 6 groups of 300. So I'm going to draw 6 groups. I've got 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if I'm going to put 300 in each, We usually have been representing our hundreds by squares, because we've got our squares, our lines for tens, and our dots for ones. So we're going to put 3 in each to make 300. 1, 2, and 3. Each square is getting 300. They look like little faces. Haha. 1, 2, 3. So counting up all the squares, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 hundreds. All right, so how did you change the numbers to estimate? Well, we looked and we changed the 320 to be 300, so we rounded down. Okay, so I'm going to put, I rounded 320 down to 300. All right, the next part, B, says, what two estimates do you get for 6 times 320 when you round 320 to the nearest two hundreds? All right, so if I'm doing that, it's going to be 6 times 300. And my next nearest hundred is going up, so it's going to be 6 times 400. All right, because 320 is in between 300 and 400. So if I say 6 times 3 is 18, I have 2 zeros, so I'm putting at 2 zeros. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 zeros means 2 zeros. So, which estimate is more reasonable and why? Well, 1,800 is a lot closer to 6 times 320 because 300 is closer than 400 to 320. So the 6 times 300 is a lot closer than 6 times 400. That would be more reasonable. I mean, it's only 20 more. So I'm going to say 6 times 300 is more reasonable. Then 6 times 400, because hi kitty because 320 is closer to 300 than 400. All right, right here. 300, then 400. So, about 1,800 people can go on the roller coaster. Sounds like the cat may have knocked something over. I'll give you some time to write that down. All right, number 2, step it out. The first Ferris wheel could carry 2,160 passengers per rotation. Suppose 4 groups rode the Ferris wheel with every seat filled each time. Emma says that 8,640 people rode the Ferris wheel. Is Emma's statement reasonable? Estimate 4 times 2,160. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the 2,000, that 2,160 is between. So we're going to circle them on the number line. So 2,160 is between, all right, kitty, the 2,000s. So don't get confused because they have another number here. We're looking for the 2,000s. 2,000 and 3,000. All right, it's going to be closer to 2,000 right here. So it says use those 2,000s. Don't get confused with 2,000, like the number. The 2/thousands, 2 of them, to estimate 2 products that the exact product is between. So 2,160 is going to go to 2,000 to estimate, and is also going to go to 3,000. If I multiply 4 times 2, that is 8. And how many zeros do I have? 1, 2, 3. Put those at the end. And if I multiply 4 times 3, that is 12 with the 3 zeros at the end. So Emma estimated 8,640, which is a lot closer to 8,000 than it is to 12,000, which makes sense, being as 2,160 is around here and not around here, so it should be closer. So the product 4 times 2,160 is between 8,000 and 12,000. And Emma's estimate of 8,640 is reasonable. I'll give you a second to fill that out. All right, remember, and if we're having trouble multiplying, this is using your basic facts. So don't be scared by how many zeros are at the end, because what we're doing is we're counting the zeros at the end, we're putting our zeros at the end. This is basically 4 times 2. And if we want to do 4 times 2, remember it's 4 groups of 2, or we can even say 2 groups of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 groups of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. We can do it for all of them, just like that. All right, I will see you next time. Goodbye.